The Arizona sunset cast long shadows across the Broken Spur ranch as Lucas Morgan guided his chestnut stallion, Thunder, through the creaking gate. Dust clung to his weathered face, testament to the long hours spent mending fences in the far pasture. At 42, Lucas wasn't old, but loneliness had etched lines around his eyes that made him look beyond his years. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. "Another day done," he murmured, patting Thunder's neck as they approached the barn. The ranch had been too quiet since Ellie passed. 5 years now, and sometimes he still caught himself listening for her laugh drifting from the kitchen window, or the soft sound of her humming as she tended the garden that now grew wild with weeds. Lucas dismounted with a grunt, boots hitting the hard-packed earth with a thud. The distant sound of an engine caught his attention. Visitors were rare out here, 20 miles from the small town of Copper Creek, especially as the day was ending. He squinted against the dying sunlight, making out a dusty blue pickup truck bumping down the long drive. Instinctively, his hand moved to his hip, an old habit from his days as a sheriff's deputy. The truck came to a stop near the house, its engine sputtering before going silent. A woman stepped out mid-30s, with honey blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore jeans and a faded denim jacket, practical clothes for travel. But it was her eyes that struck him, deep green and filled with a mixture of determination and uncertainty. She looked vaguely familiar, though Lucas couldn't place her. "Mr. Morgan?" Her voice carried a slight Texas drawl. "Lucas Morgan, that would be me." He approached cautiously, removing his hat. "Don't believe I've had the pleasure." The woman took a deep breath. "My name is Kate. Kate Winters. I was Emma's best friend." Lucas froze. Emma, his sister who had died of cancer 3 years ago. They'd never been close, especially after she moved to Dallas 15 years back. Their communications had been limited to Christmas cards and occasional phone calls. Emma never mentioned to Kate, he said, suspicion creeping into his voice. No, she wouldn't have. Kate's eyes dropped momentarily. "We met about 10 years ago, became close. She meant to reconnect with you. There was so much she wanted to tell you." It was then that Lucas noticed movement in the truck. The passenger door opened and a small figure emerged. A girl, no more than 8 or 9, with dark curls and Emma's unmistakable blue eyes. "Is that?" His throat went dry. Kate nodded, placing a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "This is Lily, Emma's daughter. Your niece." Lucas removed his hat completely, running a calloused hand through his salt and pepper hair. "Why are you here, Ms. Winters?" Kate's hands trembled slightly as she reached into a worn leather messenger bag, removing a sealed envelope. "Emma wrote this before she passed. She made me promise that if anything happened," her voice broke, "that I would bring Lily to you." Lucas stared at the letter, his sister's familiar handwriting visible on the outside where it was addressed simply, "Lucas." "We've nowhere else to go," Kate continued, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been caring for Lily since Emma died, but I lost my teaching job last month. The landlord's selling our apartment building. Emma always said if things got really bad." She trailed off. The little girl, Lily, stepped forward, her chin raised with a defiance that reminded Lucas painfully of Emma when they were kids. "Are you really a cowboy?" she asked, her voice small but steady. Despite himself, Lucas felt the corner of his mouth twitch. "Born and raised? Mom said you had horses." Lily's eyes brightened momentarily. "That I do. 4 of them." Kate placed a protective hand on Lily's shoulder. "Mr. Morgan, I know this is sudden. I know you had no idea about Lily, but we just need a place to stay until I can find another job. I can work, cook, clean, whatever's needed. I'm not asking for charity." Lucas's mind raced. His sister had a daughter, a niece he never knew existed. Anger, confusion, and grief battled within him. "How do I know?" The words escaped before he could soften them. "How do I know any of this is true?" Pain flashed across Kate's face. She held out the letter with slightly trembling fingers. "She wrote it all here. Everything." Lucas stared at the letter but made no move to take it. The sun had almost disappeared now, casting long shadows across the yard. The first stars were appearing in the eastern sky. "I don't want a horse," Lily said suddenly, her blue eyes, Emma's eyes, locking with his. "Everyone thinks girls just want horses. I don't. I want—" She faltered, then squared her small shoulders. "I want a dad. That's what Mom promised me before she died. That I'd finally have someone." Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The simplicity of the child's words hit Lucas like a physical blow. He looked at the girl, then at Kate, then at the letter in her outstretched hand. The weight of the decision pressed down on him like a physical thing. Finally, he spoke, his voice rough with emotion. "Stay, if that's what I can give." He nodded toward the letter. "You and the little one can stay if what you say is true." Kate's shoulders sagged with relief. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Lucas cautioned, finally taking the letter. "I haven't read it." As he helped them unload their meager belongings from the truck, Lucas felt something stir within him. Something he thought had died alongside Ellie. A sense that perhaps the Broken Spur ranch might not remain silent after all. The old ranch house creaked and settled as night fully descended over the Arizona desert. Lucas sat alone at the kitchen table, a single lamp casting long shadows across the worn wooden surface. His sister's letter lay before him, still sealed. Outside, coyotes called to one another, a sound that had always brought him comfort. Tonight, it only emphasized his solitude. After showing Kate and Lily to the guest room, Lucas had retreated here, unable to open the letter just yet, unable to face whatever truths lay inside. "You should read it." Kate stood in the doorway, her slight frame silhouetted from behind by the hallway light. She had changed into simple sleep shorts and a t-shirt, with a light cardigan wrapped around her shoulders. "The girl?" Lucas asked, his voice gruff. "Asleep, finally." A ghost of a smile crossed her lips. The journey was hard on her. Lucas nodded, gesturing to the chair across from him. Kate hesitated, then joined him at the table. "Coffee?" he offered, already rising to pour a cup from the pot warming on the stove. "Please." The simple domestic moment felt strange, foreign. No woman had sat at this table since Ellie passed 5 years ago. He placed the steaming mug before her and resumed his seat, eyes drawn inevitably back to the letter. "She spoke of you, you know," Kate said softly. "Emma, she regretted the distance between you." Lucas's jaw tightened. "Not enough to pick up a phone and tell me I had a niece." Kate's fingers curled around the warm mug. She was ashamed. Ashamed? Lucas's eyes shot up to meet hers. "Not of Lily," she clarified quickly. "Never of Lily. Of her choices, her struggles. She wanted you to be proud of her." Lucas scoffed. "Emma left because she wanted more than ranch life. Can't blame her for that." "She left because she thought you'd judge her," Kate said quietly. "She got pregnant young, unmarried. Lily's father vanished the moment Emma told him. She was scared, stubborn, and too proud to come home asking for help." Silence fell between them, broken only by the ticking of the mantel clock and the occasional coyote call. With a deep breath, Lucas finally broke the seal on the letter. Emma's familiar handwriting, smaller and neater than his own, filled the page. "Lucas, if you're reading this, then I've gone and done the one thing I promised I wouldn't, left my daughter alone in this world. I know you must be angry that I never told you about Lily. I convinced myself I was waiting until I had my life together, until I could come home not as a failure but as someone you could be proud of. Truth is, I was a coward. I made so many mistakes, big brother. Running away from home was the first. Pushing you away was the second. Keeping Lily from knowing her only living blood relative was my worst. She's so much like you. Stubborn, brave, with a heart bigger than she lets on. Kate has been my rock these past years. When the treatment stopped working, she promised she'd take care of Lily. But she can't do it alone, not really. She's sacrificed so much already. I told Lily stories about you, about the ranch, about the horses and the wide-open skies. In her mind, you're larger than life. Her cowboy uncle who could ride anything and fix everything. She needs that now. Someone solid, someone true. I'm asking more than I deserve. Take care of her, Lucas. She's the best of me. The only thing I did right. And Kate. She's stronger than she knows. Reminds me of you that way. Remember how Dad used to say the land remembers who belongs to it? The ranch was always meant for you, but maybe now it can be for Lily too. Your sister, Emma. Lucas's vision blurred. He set the letter down carefully, as if it might crumble under the weight of its words. She never understood, Lucas said finally. I wouldn't have judged her. She was my sister. Kate watched him, her green eyes steady. She understood more than you think. The night before she died, she continued. Emma made me promise to bring Lily to you if things got too hard. He'll pretend he doesn't want us, she said. But he needs family as much as Lily does. Lucas looked up sharply. Cancer comes quick, doesn't it? Not always. Kate's hands trembled slightly around her mug. Emma fought hard for 3 years, longer than the doctors expected. She wanted to see Lily reach 3rd grade. Another revelation. Another piece of his sister's life he'd missed. I never knew she was sick, Lucas admitted. She could have come home. I would have. I know, Kate said simply. She knew it too in the end. Lucas stood suddenly, moving to the window. The moon had risen, casting silver light across the pastures and distant mountains. His land. Emma's birthright too, though she'd wanted no part of it. Now, apparently, her daughter's inheritance as well. Ms. Winters, Kate, she corrected gently. If we're going to live under the same roof, even temporarily, we should use first names. Kate, he conceded. I don't know the first thing about little girls. A small smile touched her lips. Neither did I until Emma asked me to be Lily's godmother. You learn as you go. And I'm not much for company these days. We don't need company, she replied. Just shelter, safety. She paused. A chance for Lily to know her uncle. Lucas turned from the window, studying her. There was a quiet strength about her, a resilience he recognized, the same quality that had allowed him to keep this ranch going through drought and wildfire, feast and famine. You can stay, he said finally. Not because Emma asked, but because it's the right thing. Something shifted in Kate's expression. Relief, perhaps, or something deeper. Thank you. The ranch isn't much, Lucas continued. But it's home. It's more than enough. She rose, gathering her cardigan tighter. Emma always said this land had a way of healing what was broken. As Kate bid him good night and disappeared down the hallway, Lucas remained at the window, looking out at the vast Arizona night. For the first time since Ellie's death, the silence of the ranch didn't seem quite so empty. Perhaps his sister had sent him exactly what the Broken Spur needed most. 2 weeks passed in a blur of adjustments. The rhythm of ranch life, once so predictable, now revolved around school drop-offs and bedtime stories. The old house, silent for so long, echoed with the patter of small feet and occasional bursts of childish laughter. Lucas rose before dawn as always, but now found coffee already brewing and Kate at the counter, her honey-blonde hair loosely braided over one shoulder as she prepared lunches. You don't need to do this, he'd said the first morning. I've never been one for idleness, she'd replied simply. We earn our keep. By the second week, they'd fallen into an uneasy routine. Kate had found part-time work at the Copper Creek Library, working mornings while Lily was at school. Lucas would drop Lily off on his way to run errands in town, and Kate would pick her up when her shift ended. Evenings were spent together in the ranch house, the three of them navigating their new arrangement with cautious optimism. It was Diego, his longtime ranch hand, who first voiced what Lucas couldn't bring himself to admit. The little one, Diego said one afternoon as they repaired irrigation lines. She brings life back to this place. Lucas grunted, adjusting a valve with perhaps more force than necessary. And Señorita Kate, Diego continued, undeterred. She works hard, strong woman. Your sister chose well for her daughter's guardian. Lucas straightened, wiping sweat from his brow. They're temporary, Diego. Until Kate finds full-time work, gets back on her feet. Diego simply smiled, the lines around his eyes deepening. If you say so, Jefe. That evening, as thunderclouds gathered on the horizon, Lucas returned to find Kate on the porch, grading papers while keeping an eye on Lily, who was carefully brushing Thunder in the corral nearby. Storm's coming, he said, removing his hat as he approached. Better get everyone inside. Kate nodded, gathering her papers. Just finished anyway. She looked toward the darkening sky. Looks like a big one. Arizona storms don't mess around, Lucas agreed, already moving toward the corral. Lily, time to come in. The girl looked up, disappointment clear on her face. But I'm not done with Thunder. Thunder knows when it's time to come in out of the rain, Lucas called. And so should smart little girls. Something about the familiar exchange, so domestic, so normal, caught him off guard. When had he started speaking to her like family? Inside, they secured the windows as the first fat raindrops began to fall. Lily, sensing the excitement of the approaching storm, grew animated rather than frightened. I've never seen a real desert storm before, she exclaimed, pressing her face against the window glass. They can get pretty wild, Lucas said, gently pulling her back. Lightning like you wouldn't believe. Will the horses be okay? Concern creased her small features. They're safe in the barn, he assured her. They've weathered hundreds of storms. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out completely, leaving them in sudden darkness. Well, that was faster than usual, Lucas muttered, already reaching for the flashlight he kept in the kitchen drawer. I've got candles in my room, Kate called from the hallway. Hang on. Moments later, the kitchen was bathed in the warm glow of candlelight. Lily's eyes were wide with wonder. It's like camping, she declared. Camping usually has fewer roof leaks, Lucas replied dryly, hearing the telltale drip coming from the living room. I've been meaning to fix that. I'll get a bucket, Kate offered, already moving to the utility closet with practiced ease, as if she'd lived there for years instead of weeks. As the storm intensified, they gathered around the kitchen table. Lucas produced a deck of cards, and soon they were engaged in a spirited game of Go Fish that had Lily giggling every time Lucas asked, with exaggerated seriousness, if she had any threes. Uncle Lucas? Lily asked during a lull in the game. It was the first time she'd called him that, and the title caught him by surprise. Yes? Did my mom like storms too? Lucas set his cards down, memories washing over him. She was terrified of them as a little girl, he said softly, used to hide under her bed until I'd crawl under there with her. We'd make up stories about thunder dragons until she forgot to be scared. Lily considered this, her small face serious in the candlelight. Could you tell me a thunder dragon story? Something tightened in Lucas's chest. I suppose I could try to remember one. As the storm raged outside, Lucas found himself spinning tales of magical dragons who created storms with their mighty wings, of brave princesses who rode them through the clouds, and of desert treasures waiting to be discovered. Lily listened, enraptured, while Kate watched them both, a soft smile playing at her lips. Later, with Lily finally asleep and the storm reduced to a gentle patter against the windows, Lucas and Kate sat in the living room, a single candle between them. Thank you, Kate said quietly, for the stories, for making her feel safe. Lucas shrugged uncomfortably. Just old tales Emma and I made up as kids. It's more than that, Kate insisted. You're giving her connections to her mother, to a family history she needs. Lucas studied the woman across from him. In the candlelight, her features were softened, vulnerable. You've done right by her, he said, finally. Emma chose well. Kate's eyes dropped to her hands. I try, but I can't be everything she needs. What does that mean? She asks about her father sometimes, Kate admitted. I don't know what to tell her. He was just some guy Emma dated briefly, He never even knew Emma was pregnant. He's married now, with a new family in Minnesota. Does Lily know that? Kate shook her head. How do you tell a child she was unwanted by her own father? That he chose to never even meet her? Lucas felt a surge of anger toward this unknown man who had abandoned his sister and niece. Sometimes the family you choose matters more than the family you're born to, he said finally. Is that what we're doing here, Lucas? Choosing to be family? The question hung in the air between them, loaded with implications neither was ready to address. I'm just trying to do right by Emma, he said finally, by Lily. And when I find a full-time job, when we can afford to leave. The thought of the house falling silent again, of empty rooms and solitary meals, struck Lucas harder than he expected. That's the plan, isn't it? He said, his voice carefully neutral. Kate nodded slowly, but something in her expression suggested she was wrestling with the same conflicted feelings. Outside, the storm began to retreat, thunder now a distant rumble. Inside, something new was taking root. Fragile as a desert wildflower after rain, but growing nonetheless. Tomorrow, Lucas said, rising from his chair. I'll show Lily how to check the fences after a storm if you think she's old enough. Kate's smile reached her eyes. She'd love that. As Lucas bid her goodnight and retreated to his room, he realized the ache of loneliness that had been his constant companion these past years had, for the first time, begun to ease. Summer scorched the Arizona landscape, turning the meadows golden and warming the earth until it shimmered with heat. 3 months had passed since Kate and Lily arrived at the Broken Spur ranch, and with each passing day, their presence felt less like an interruption and more like belonging. The morning dawned clear and hot, as Lucas loaded supplies into his truck for the drive into Copper Creek, market day, and the first time all 3 of them would go into town together. Are you sure you want to come along? Lucas asked Kate, who was helping Lily tie her sneakers on the porch. Town can be nosy. Kate straightened, tucking a strand of honey-blonde hair behind her ear. We can't hide out here forever. Besides, Lily needs new school clothes. She's growing like a weed. Lucas nodded, though concern still pinched his brow. He'd been into town plenty of times with Lily, dropping her at school, picking up supplies, but the 3 of them together would spark inevitable questions. Let them talk, Kate said, reading his expression. We know the truth, and that's what matters. The drive to town was peaceful, the open road stretching before them and red rock formations rising in the distance. Lily chattered excitedly from the back seat about which of her school friends they might see, while Kate occasionally pointed out desert wildlife, a roadrunner darting across the highway, a hawk circling lazily overhead. Tell me about Copper Creek, Kate said, turning to Lucas. What should we expect? Lucas considered this. Small town, about 2,000 people, 1 main street with the essentials. General store, post office, diner, bank. Good people, mostly. But? Kate prompted, hearing the reservation in his tone. But they remember Ellie and Emma, though she left young. They'll wonder about you 2, about me taking in my niece after all this time. Kate's expression softened. We don't owe explanations. No, Lucas agreed. But perhaps the truth is simplest. You're Emma's friend. Lily's my niece. Family helping family. Family. The word still caught him off guard. Their arrival in Copper Creek didn't go unnoticed. Heads turned as they parked in front of Dawson's general store, and whispers followed as they made their way inside. Lucas nodded, greeting to familiar faces, his hand instinctively coming to rest on Lily's shoulder as they entered the cool interior. Marge Dawson, the owner's wife and Copper Creek's most notorious gossip, practically pounced on them at the entrance. Why, Lucas Morgan, aren't you going to introduce us to your guests? Her eyes darted between Kate and Lily, hungry for confirmation of whatever rumors had already spread. Mrs. Dawson, Lucas nodded stiffly. This is Kate Winters, my late sister's friend, and this is Lily, my niece. Kate extended her hand graciously. A pleasure, Mrs. Dawson. Lucas says you have the best selection of children's clothes in the county. The flattery worked its magic. Marge bloomed like a well-watered flower, immediately warming to Kate. Oh, my dear, how tragic about Emma. We had no idea she had a daughter. Such a sweet little thing. Has the Morgan eyes, doesn't she? You poor child. "She has me now," Lucas said firmly. Something in his tone silenced even Marge momentarily. As they continued their shopping, more townspeople approached, some with genuine sympathy, others barely disguising their curiosity. Through it all, Kate maintained a quiet dignity that impressed Lucas more than he cared to admit. It was outside the hardware store that trouble found them. Tom Reeves, Lucas's longtime rival and owner of the neighboring Diamond R Ranch, stood blocking their path, his weathered face twisted in a smirk. Well, Lucas Morgan playing family man. Never thought I'd see the day." Lucas tensed, but Kate's hand on his arm restrained him. "Mr. Reeves, is it?" Kate's voice was cool. "I don't believe we've been introduced." Reeves's eyes raked over Kate with undisguised interest. Mighty convenient, a woman and child showing up at a lonely man's ranch. Mighty convenient indeed. Lucas stepped forward, but before he could speak, a small voice piped up. "My mom died," Lily said, her chin raised defiantly. "Uncle Lucas is taking care of me because that's what family does. My mom said he was the best man she knew." The simplicity of the child's defense left Reeves momentarily speechless. He recovered quickly, his face darkening. "Pretty story," he sneered. "But folks around here know Morgan doesn't have it in him to care for anyone but himself. Ask his wife." "Oh, wait, you can't." "She left him, didn't she?" Lucas lunged forward, only Kate's firm grip and Lily's presence keeping him from throwing a punch. "Ellie died, Reeves, you know that. And you're out of line." "Am I?" Reeves stepped closer. "Word around town is you've got yourself a ready-made family now. How convenient for a man who couldn't keep his own." "That's enough." Sheriff Martinez approached, his weathered face registering disappointment as he took in the scene. "Tom, don't you have somewhere else to be?" Reeves backed down with a mocking tip of his hat. "Just welcoming the newest residents to our community." As Reeves sauntered away, Sheriff Martinez turned curious eyes to Kate and Lily. "Ms. Winters, right? And little Lily. Heard you're staying out at the Broken Spur." "That's right," Kate replied. "I was Emma's friend. I've been looking after Lily since Emma passed." Understanding dawned in the sheriff's eyes. He'd known the Morgan family for decades. "Emma always did forge her own path," he said with a sad smile. "Ms. Winters, welcome to Copper Creek. If you need anything at all, my office is right down the street." "Thank you, Sheriff," Kate replied warmly. The remainder of their visit passed without incident, but Lucas noticed Lily had grown unusually quiet. On the drive home, as the afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the truck's metal roof, he finally asked, "You okay back there, kiddo?" Lily looked up from where she'd been tracing patterns on the dusty window. "Did your wife really leave you?" The innocent question landed like a physical blow. Lucas's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "No, Lily," Kate answered when Lucas remained silent. "Uncle Lucas's wife, Ellie, passed away, like your mom did." "Oh." Lily was quiet for a moment. "That's why you're sad sometimes, isn't it, when you think no one's looking?" Lucas caught Lily's gaze in the rearview mirror, those eyes so like Emma's, seeing far more than he'd realized. "Yeah," he admitted roughly. "That's why. My mom was sad too before she got really sick," Lily continued. "She tried to hide it, but I could tell. Kate says it's okay to be sad sometimes." "Kate's right," Lucas managed, shooting a grateful glance at the woman beside him. "But you're not as sad anymore," Lily observed with a child's directness. "Not since we came." The simple statement hung in the air, undeniable in its truth. That night, after Lily was asleep, Lucas found Kate on the porch, gazing at the stars that blanketed the clear desert sky. "Thank you," he said, the words feeling inadequate, "for today, for handling things so gracefully." "You forget I've had practice being the subject of speculation," she replied. "Small towns are the same everywhere." A comfortable silence settled between them, filled with the chirping of crickets and the distant howl of coyotes. "Reeves will be trouble," Lucas warned. "He's had his eye on the Broken Spur for years. Thinks I can't manage it alone since Ellie passed." Kate's expression remained serene. "Then it's fortunate the Morgans are known for their stubbornness." Despite himself, Lucas laughed, a rusty sound he barely recognized. Kate smiled in response, and for a moment something passed between them, an understanding perhaps, or something more complicated. "Lily's question," Kate said finally. "About Ellie. You don't speak of her much." Lucas leaned against the porch railing, his eyes on the distant mountains. "Not much to say. She got sick. Cancer, like Emma." It was quick, at the end. "I'm sorry," Kate said simply. "5 years now," Lucas continued, surprised to find the words coming easier than expected. "Some days I can go hours without thinking about her. Used to feel guilty about that. And now?" Lucas turned to look at Kate, her face softened by moonlight. "Now I think maybe that's how it's supposed to work. Life keeps moving forward, whether we're ready or not." "Emma used to say something similar," Kate said softly. "The heart makes room," she'd tell Lily. "Even when you think it can't possibly hold any more grief, it makes room for joy, too." As Kate bid him goodnight and disappeared inside, Lucas remained on the porch, looking out at the vast Arizona night. For the first time in longer than he could remember, the Broken Spur Ranch felt like home again. Autumn painted the Arizona landscape in deep reds and golds. As the first anniversary of Emma's passing approached, 6 months had transformed the Broken Spur. The old vegetable garden beside the house flourished again under Kate's careful tending. Chickens clucked contentedly in a newly built coop, and Lily's laughter had become as much a part of the ranch as the wind through the mesquite trees. Lucas stood on the ridge overlooking the valley, the morning sun warming his back. From here he could see the entire spread, the grazing cattle, the sturdy barn with its fresh coat of paint, the homestead with smoke curling from its chimney. Home, but different now, better. Lily had started 4th grade at the Copper Creek Elementary School, quickly making friends and bringing home art projects that now adorned the refrigerator door. She'd taken to ranch life with surprising ease, learning to collect eggs without frightening the hens and to groom thunder with careful, gentle strokes. And Kate. Lucas removed his hat, running a hand through hair now streaked with a bit more silver than before. Kate had become indispensable, not just to Lily, but to the ranch, to him. Her part-time job at the library had turned into a full-time position as children's program coordinator. She'd made friends in town, joined the community garden committee, become part of Copper Creek in a way that suggested permanence. The thought both comforted and unsettled him. They'd never discussed how long she and Lily would stay. The temporary arrangement had somehow evolved into something that felt permanent, without either of them acknowledging it. The sound of approaching hoofbeats pulled Lucas from his thoughts. Diego rode toward him, his expression troubled. "Jefe," Diego called, reining his horse alongside Lucas's. "Riders coming." Reeves and his men. Lucas's jaw tightened. Since that day in town, Tom Reeves had made his intentions clear. He wanted the Broken Spur, and he'd use any means to get it. "How many?" Lucas asked, already turning his horse toward home. 4, maybe 5, Diego answered. "They're heading straight for the house." Lucas didn't hesitate. "Ride back," warned Kate. "I'll be right behind you." As they galloped toward the homestead, Lucas's mind raced. The previous week, Reeves had made an insultingly low offer to buy the ranch, claiming that Lucas couldn't possibly manage it alone anymore. When Lucas refused, Reeves's parting words had been ominous. "Think on it, Morgan. Hard times coming for small ranchers. Shame if anything happened to your new family." By the time Lucas thundered into the yard, Reeves and his men had already arrived. They remained mounted, facing the porch where Kate stood, straight-backed and calm, Lily partially hidden behind her. "Ms. Winters," Reeves was saying, his voice dripping false courtesy, "I've simply come to speak with Morgan about reconsidering my offer." Lucas dismounted in one fluid motion, positioning himself between Kate and the riders. "You're trespassing, Reeves." Reeves smiled coldly. "Neighborly visit, that's all." His gaze shifted to Kate and Lily. "Charming family picture you've created here, Morgan. Almost looks real." One of Reeves's men sniggered. "Say your piece and leave," Lucas growled, acutely aware of Kate and Lily behind him. Reeves leaned forward in his saddle. Water rights hearing next week, Morgan. County's reassessing who gets what from Cooper's Creek. Drought's getting worse, as you well know. He paused, eyes gleaming. Be a shame if your petition got lost in the shuffle. Ranch isn't worth much without water access. Is that a threat? Lucas's voice was dangerously quiet. Just stating facts, Reeves replied smoothly. Small operations like yours are dying out. One-man ranches can't compete with operations like mine. My offer stands for now, but once the water rights are settled, well... He shrugged. Land without water isn't worth much. Mr. Reeves. Kate's clear voice cut through his threats. She stepped forward, placing a protective hand on Lily's shoulder. You seem to labor under a misapprehension. The Broken Spur isn't a one-man operation. Reeves looked at her with undisguised contempt. No offense, ma'am, but what would a city woman and a librarian know about ranching? I know that Lucas has Diego, and now 2 new hands from town, she replied evenly. I know that the Broken Spur's heritage cattle bring premium prices at market, and I know that the water rights for this property were established in 1887 and are legally protected under Arizona's prior appropriation doctrine. Lucas stared at her, momentarily stunned. Kate continued, her voice firm. I also happen to know that the county water commissioner, Mrs. Eleanor Jenkins, was quite impressed with the water conservation methods Lucas implemented this year. Her grandson is in my reading program, you see. For a moment, no one moved. Then Reeves's face darkened with fury. You'd be wise to muzzle your woman, Morgan, he spat, before she talks herself into trouble. Lucas's hand moved instinctively toward his hip, an old habit from his deputy days. She's not mine to muzzle, Reeves. And she's right on all counts. Lily stepped out from behind Kate then, her small face set in determination that reminded Lucas painfully of Emma. My uncle doesn't need to sell anything to you, she said, her voice trembling slightly but clear. This is our home now. For a tense moment it seemed Reeves might escalate the confrontation. His hand tightened on his reins, and his men shifted restlessly in their saddles. Then, with a cold laugh, Reeves turned his horse around. This isn't over, Morgan. His eyes lingered on Kate and Lily. Things change. People leave. They always do. As the riders disappeared down the drive, Lucas turned to find Kate trembling slightly, though her face remained composed. Where did you learn all that about water rights? He asked, amazed. A small smile touched her lips. I'm a librarian, Lucas. Research is what I do. After that day in town, I thought it might be useful to understand the ranch's legal standing. You researched Arizona water law. For us. For the ranch, she corrected. But her eyes said something more. That night, after Lily was asleep, Lucas found Kate in the kitchen, a stack of legal documents spread across the table. You shouldn't have confronted Reeves, he said, pouring himself a small measure of whiskey. He's dangerous. Kate's hands stilled over the papers. So is losing everything you care about. The simple statement hung in the air between them. You don't understand what men like Reeves are capable of, Lucas pressed. And you don't understand what a woman will do to protect her home. She looked up finally, her eyes reflecting the kitchen light. This land is Lily's heritage, Lucas. Emma wanted her to know it, to have roots somewhere. Lucas sat heavily across from her. Kate, I need to ask you something. He hesitated. What happens when you find something better than a part-time librarian job in a small desert town? When Lily grows older and needs more than what Copper Creek can offer? Is that what you think I'm doing? Kate asked quietly. Just waiting for a better opportunity? Isn't that the plan? Lucas met her gaze steadily. You needed a place to stay until you got back on your feet. You're on your feet now. Kate resumed shuffling papers, blinking rapidly. Plans change, Lucas. Do they? He leaned forward. Because I need to know if you're staying, if Lily's staying. I need to know if I'm fighting for this ranch for all of us, or if I'm just keeping it warm until you leave. Is that what you think? Kate's voice sharpened. That we're just passing through your life? I think Lily deserves stability, Lucas said carefully. And I think we need to be honest about what this arrangement is becoming. And what is it becoming, Lucas? Her voice was barely above a whisper. The air between them seemed to thicken with unspoken words. It's been nearly a year, she continued carefully, since I brought Lily here. We've made a life, the three of us. Lucas stood abruptly, moving to the window. Outside, the desert night was clear and cold, stars scattered like diamonds across the black sky. I've seen how you look at her, Kate said softly. At Lily when she runs to meet you after school. When you're teaching her to ride. When you tell her stories about her mother. A pause. Sometimes I wonder if you see me too. Lucas's back stiffened. Kate, don't. Why not? The chair scraped as she stood. Because this was supposed to be temporary. Because Lily needs stability. What Lily needs is a family, Kate said, her voice breaking slightly. She's found that here, with you. We both have. Lucas turned slowly to face her. In the kitchen light, with her honey-blonde hair loose around her shoulders and her eyes bright with emotion, she looked both vulnerable and strong. I made a promise, he said quietly, to care for Lily. That doesn't mean I have the right to… To what? Kate moved closer. To be happy? To build something new? Lucas ran a hand over his face. I don't know how to do this, Kate. It's been 5 years since Ellie. I don't know how to start again. Yes, you do. She touched his arm lightly. You already have. Outside, a coyote called to its mate, the sound echoing across the silent ranch. Inside, the warmth of the kitchen enveloped them as they stood at the precipice of something neither had dared name. I keep thinking of something Emma wrote, Kate whispered. The heart makes room. She knew, somehow. Knew what? Lucas asked, though part of him already understood. That healing doesn't mean forgetting. That love doesn't end with loss. It transforms. She took a deep breath. That Lily and I might find a home here, with you. Lucas's hand, calloused and strong, finally reached for hers. Their fingers intertwined tentatively at first, then with certainty. I've been fighting it, he admitted, voice rough with emotion. Feeling like I was betraying Ellie's memory. And I've been afraid, she confessed. Afraid you'd always see us as an obligation, a promise to keep. In the quiet of the ranch kitchen, Lucas Morgan finally allowed himself to see the truth that had been growing all these months. You're not an obligation, Kate, he said simply. You and Lily, you're a gift I never expected. When he finally kissed her, it felt like coming home after a long journey. Outside, the desert night embraced the Broken Spur ranch. Inside, where Emma's letter lay in the desk drawer and her daughter slept peacefully down the hall, a new chapter was beginning. Winter came to Arizona, bringing cool rains that turned the desert briefly, brilliantly green. Life at the Broken Spur settled into new patterns. Kate and Lucas moved cautiously, carefully, building their relationship with deliberate steps, while keeping Lily's well-being at the center. We should talk to her, Kate said one evening as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains purple and gold. About us, Lucas nodded, his hand finding hers. Tomorrow. Together. But, as often happens, children see more than adults give them credit for. The next morning at breakfast, Lily looked up from her cereal with Emma's direct blue gaze. Are you and Kate in love now? She asked Lucas, her voice matter of fact. Lucas choked on his coffee. Kate froze with the orange juice pitcher mid-pour. What makes you ask that, sweetheart? Kate recovered first. Lily shrugged, returning to her cereal. You look at each other the way Sophia's parents do. And you held hands under the table at dinner last night. Lucas set down his mug, meeting Kate's eyes across the table. A silent understanding passed between them. Would that be okay with you? He asked Lily carefully. If Kate and I were together? Lily considered this with the gravity of a judge. Does that mean you'd be like my dad? For real? The question hit Lucas with unexpected force. I'd like to be, he said finally, his voice rough with emotion. If that's what you want. Lily's face broke into a smile that transformed her entire being. I told you I didn't want a horse. I wanted a dad. She turned to Kate. Does this mean we're staying forever? Kate's eyes filled with tears. If that's what you want, sweetheart. It is, Lily said firmly. This is our home now. Later that day, Lucas stood in the barn, repairing tack while Lily sat nearby on a hay bale, chattering about her science project. The easy domesticity of the moment struck him with its rightness. Uncle Lucas? Lily's voice interrupted his thoughts. If you marry Kate, what should I call her? Lucas's hands stilled on the leather bridle. Well, that's something you'd need to talk about with Kate. And we're not. That is, we haven't discussed marriage yet. Lily nodded sagely. But you will. Diego says it's just a matter of time. Lucas made a mental note to have a talk with his ranch hand about discussing his personal life in front of Lily. Would you want me to marry Kate? He asked carefully. Yes, Lily said without hesitation. Then we'd be a real family. We're already a family, kiddo, Lucas said gently. Papers and ceremonies don't change that. Lily looked unconvinced. But it would make it official. And Kate makes you smile. Mom always said that was important. Finding someone who makes you smile, even when you don't want to. The wisdom in the child's words left Lucas momentarily speechless. He crossed to the hay bale and sat beside her, pulling her into a one-armed hug. Your mom was a smart woman, he said finally. I wish I'd known her better as an adult. Me too, Lily said softly. Then, with the resilience of childhood, she brightened. But I have you now. And Kate. And Thunder and the chickens, and Diego and Mrs. Martinez at school, and… Lucas laughed, ruffling her hair. Quite a family we've built, huh? The best kind, Lily declared. The kind you choose. The water rights hearing came and went, with the Broken Spur's historic claims upheld, despite Reeves's attempts to challenge them. The victory should have eased Lucas's mind, but Reeves's parting words, "This isn't over, Morgan," lingered like a shadow. February brought preparations for the annual Copper Creek Founders' Day celebration. The entire town would gather for a parade, carnival, and dance. It would be their first major public appearance as a family unit, and Lucas found himself uncharacteristically nervous. Stop fussing, Kate laughed, straightening his collar as they prepared to leave. You look fine. It's not that, Lucas admitted. It's just, everyone will be watching, talking. Let them talk. Kate said simply, we know what we have. Lily bounded into the room, resplendent in a new dress and cowboy boots. Are we ready? Diego says we're going to be late for the parade. The Founders' Day celebration was in full swing when they arrived. Main Street had been transformed with banners and bunting, food stalls lined the sidewalks, and music filled the air. Lily immediately spotted her friends and raced off, after extracting a promise that they'd watch the parade together. Lucas! Kate! Sheriff Martinez approached, his wife Elena beside him. Great day for a celebration. Sheriff, Lucas nodded, suddenly aware of Kate's hand in his. Elena and I were hoping you'd join us for the dance tonight, Martinez continued. Unless you've other plans? We'd love to, Kate answered when Lucas hesitated. Right, Lucas? Wouldn't miss it, he managed. As the day progressed, Lucas found his anxiety easing. The townspeople who once whispered about the strange arrangement at the Broken Spur now greeted them warmly as a unit. Mrs. Dawson from the general store fussed over Lily's growth spurt. The bank manager discussed cattle prices with Lucas, while his wife chatted with Kate about the library's new programs. Told you, Kate murmured as they watched Lily participate in a three-legged race with her classmates. Small towns adapt. We're old news now. Lucas slipped an arm around her waist, pulling her closer. Not to me. The evening dance was held in the community center, transformed by twinkling lights and desert wildflower arrangements. A local band played a mix of country and western standards that filled the dance floor. Lucas watched from the sidelines as Kate twirled Lily around the floor, both of them laughing. The sight filled his chest with the warmth he'd almost forgotten was possible. You've done well for yourself, Morgan. Lucas turned to find Sheriff Martinez beside him, offering a cup of punch. Thanks, Lucas accepted the drink. Though I can't take much credit. They found me, not the other way around. Martinez chuckled. Sometimes the best things in life find us when we least expect them. Sounds like something Ellie would say, Lucas observed, surprised to find he could speak her name now without that sharp edge of pain. She'd be happy for you, Martinez said quietly. She always wanted you to find your way back. Before Lucas could respond, Lily came bounding up, cheeks flushed with excitement. Uncle Lucas, they're playing a slow song now. Kate says you have to dance with her. Lucas glanced up to see Kate waiting on the dance floor, a gentle challenge in her smile. With a mock groan that made Lily giggle, he set down his punch and allowed himself to be pulled toward the dance floor. Taking Kate in his arms felt right, like a piece sliding into place. They moved together easily, as if they'd been dancing for years instead of for the first time. See? Not so bad, Kate murmured. The whole town watching us. I don't see anyone but you, Lucas replied, surprising himself with the truth of it. Kate's eyes softened. Lucas Morgan, you're turning into a romantic. Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation to maintain. As they danced, Lucas caught sight of Lily watching them from beside the refreshment table, her face alight with happiness. Over by the door, he noticed Tom Reeves observing them, his expression unreadable. Reeves is here, he murmured to Kate. I know, she replied calmly. He's been watching us all evening. Doesn't worry you? Kate looked up at him, her eyes clear and determined. No, because whatever he's planning, he's up against all three of us now. And we're stronger together. The simplicity of her faith in them, in what they'd built, struck Lucas deeply. As the song ended, he made a decision. Come with me, he said, taking her hand. Both of you. He beckoned to Lily, who skipped over eagerly. Where are we going? Kate asked as he led them through the crowd toward the exit. There's something I need to do, Lucas said, something that can't wait any longer. Outside, the desert night was cool and clear, stars blazing overhead. Lucas led them to the town square, where a massive old mesquite tree had stood since before Copper Creek was founded. Legend held that promises made under its branches were unbreakable. Lucas? Kate's voice held a question as they stopped beneath the sprawling branches. Lucas took a deep breath, then knelt down to Lily's level. Remember what you asked me, about making things official? Lily's eyes widened. Are you going to marry Kate? Well, Lucas said carefully, I need to ask her first. But I wanted to make sure you were okay with it. Yes, Lily bounced on her toes. Yes, 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 Lucas smiled, then stood to face Kate, whose hands had flown to her mouth. I know this isn't the traditional way, he began. When have we ever been traditional? Kate whispered. Lucas took her hands in his. Kate Winters, you came into my life when I'd forgotten how to live it. You and Lily brought light back to the Broken Spur, back to me. His voice roughened. I'm not good with words, but I know what I want. What I hope you want too. Lucas, Kate's voice trembled. I love you, he said simply. I want to build a life with you, raise Lily together, make the Broken Spur a home for all of us. He paused. If that's what you want too. It is. Kate whispered, tears shining in her eyes. It's everything I want. As they sealed their promise with a kiss, Lily wrapped her arms around both their waists, creating a circle that felt unbreakable. Above them, the ancient mesquite tree stood witness, its branches stirring in the gentle desert breeze. From the shadows near the community center, Tom Reeves watched the scene unfold with narrowed eyes. Beside him, a man in an expensive suit shifted impatiently. Well, the suit asked, can you deliver the property or not? Reeves turned away from the family tableau. It's complicated. My clients don't do complicated, the suit replied coldly. They want the land for the resort development. You said Morgan was on the verge of selling. He was, Reeves growled, before they came along. The suit sighed. Find another angle, Reeves. Or the deal's off, for all the properties. As the man walked away, Reeves took one last look at the family beneath the tree. His hand closed around the envelope in his pocket, the envelope containing information that could shatter their newfound happiness. Enjoy it while it lasts, Morgan, he muttered. Because I'm just getting started. Spring blossomed across the Arizona landscape. painting the desert with wildflowers and warming the earth after the winter rains. Wedding plans bloomed alongside the desert primrose as Kate, Lucas, and Lily prepared for the ceremony that would officially make them a family. "May is perfect," Kate said one evening as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains in shades of rose and gold. "Not too hot, and the wildflowers will still be in bloom." Lucas nodded, his calloused fingers gently playing with a strand of her honey-blonde hair. 2 months. Seems like forever and no time at all. Lily looked up from where she sat, drawing on the porch steps. "Can I be the flower girl and the ring bearer? Jenny Martinez said you need both." Kate smiled. "You can be whatever you want, sweetheart." "Then I want to be the best girl," Lily declared. "Because I'm the best girl, and I'm the one who made Uncle Lucas ask you to marry him." Lucas laughed, a sound that had become wonderfully common in the once silent ranch house. Can't argue with that logic. As the weeks passed, preparations continued. Kate found a simple white dress in Tucson that made Lucas's breath catch when she described it. Lily insisted on new boots for the occasion, fancy ones with stitching, which Lucas was powerless to refuse. The Broken Spur would host the ceremony and reception, with the entire town invited to celebrate. Life settled into a rhythm of sweet anticipation, the days counting down to when they would officially become what they already were in their hearts: a family. It was Diego who brought the first whisper of trouble, returning from town one afternoon with a troubled expression. "Jefe," he called to Lucas as they met in the barn. "There's talk in town. Reeves has been meeting with men in suits. Developers, they say." Lucas frowned, setting down the saddle he'd been repairing. "What kind of developers?" Diego shrugged. "Big resort, maybe. They've been buying up small ranches all along the western ridge. 3 sold last month alone." A cold feeling settled in Lucas's stomach. The western ridge bordered the Broken Spur's best grazing land. "Any idea what they're offering?" "Big money from what I hear. Times are hard. People are selling." Lucas nodded slowly. "Keep your ears open, amigo. I want to know what Reeves is planning." That evening, Lucas was uncharacteristically quiet as they ate dinner. Kate noticed, of course. She always did, but waited until Lily was occupied with homework before addressing it. "What's wrong?" she asked, joining him at the kitchen sink where he was mechanically washing dishes. Lucas hesitated, then shared what Diego had told him. "Could be nothing," he finished. "Reeves likes to stir up trouble." Kate studied his face. "But you don't think it's nothing?" "No," he admitted. "The timing's too convenient. Reeves knows we're doing well, knows the ranch is thriving, with you and Lily here. He's looking for another angle." Kate slipped her arms around his waist, resting her head against his back. "Whatever he's planning, we'll face it together." The peace of their evening was interrupted by the sound of tires on gravel. Lucas tensed, moving to the window. A sleek black car, out of place in their dusty ranch yard, had pulled up to the house. "Stay inside," he instructed, but Kate was already moving to the door behind him. The man who emerged from the car was a stranger, tall, slim, in an expensive suit that shouted city money. He carried a leather briefcase and wore a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Mr. Morgan?" The man extended his hand. "Robert Chandler, Mirage Resort Development. I was hoping we might have a word." Lucas didn't take the offered hand. "You're trespassing, Mr. Chandler." The smile didn't falter. "I apologize for the unexpected visit, but I believe you'll want to hear my proposal. May I come in?" "No," Lucas said flatly. "Whatever you're selling, I'm not interested." Chandler's smile tightened. "I'm prepared to offer you $3 million for the Broken Spur, Mr. Morgan. That's twice its market value." Despite himself, Lucas felt a jolt of surprise. $3 million was indeed far more than the ranch was worth on paper. "Like I said," Lucas repeated, "not interested." "Mr. Morgan," Chandler persisted, "we've already acquired most of the neighboring properties. The Broken Spur is the final piece we need for our development. A world-class golf resort, spa, condominiums, It will bring jobs, tourism, growth to the entire region, and destroy everything that makes this land special, Kate said, stepping forward to stand beside Lucas. Chandler's eyes flickered to her, then back to Lucas. Ms. Winters, I presume? I understand congratulations are in order. An upcoming wedding, I hear. The casual mention of their personal business sent a chill down Lucas's spine. This man had been doing his homework. You should leave, Lucas said, his voice dangerous now. Of course. Chandler pulled a business card from his pocket, placing it on the porch railing. The offer stands for 30 days. After that, he shrugged eloquently. Well, land values can be so unpredictable. As the black car disappeared down the drive, Kate turned to Lucas, her face pale. That was a threat. Seems like Reeves found his new angle, Lucas agreed grimly. Over the next week, pressure mounted from unexpected directions. The feed store suddenly couldn't fill their regular order. The bank called about reviewing their operating loan. 3 families canceled their RSVPs to the wedding without explanation. It's like the whole town is being squeezed, Kate observed one evening as they sat in the kitchen, going over the ranch accounts. Lucas nodded grimly. Chandler's company has deep pockets. Deeper than we realized. Lucas Morgan? A familiar voice called from the front yard. You decent? Got visitors. Lucas opened the door to find Sheriff Martinez on the porch, accompanied by several of the oldest ranching families in the area. The Hendersons, the Blackwells, and old Joe Peterson, who had to be pushing 90. Evening, Sheriff. Folks. Lucas stepped aside, inviting them in. What brings you all out here? Martinez removed his hat as he entered. Town meeting today. Thought you should know what happened, since you weren't there. Kate appeared from the kitchen, concern evident on her face. What's wrong? Mirage Development made their pitch to the town council, Martinez explained. 5-star resort, shopping, golf courses. Promised 300 permanent jobs, millions in tax revenue. Lucas felt his stomach sink. And the council's considering fast-tracking approvals, Henderson said, his weathered face grim. Rezoning the entire Western Valley from agricultural to commercial. They can't do that, Kate protested. This land has been ranching territory for generations. They can with enough votes, Martinez said quietly, and enough palms greased. Old Joe Peterson stepped forward, leaning heavily on his cane. I've seen this before, boy. Back in '62, when they tried to dam up Cooper's Creek. Developers come in, make big promises, divide the town. By the time folks realize what they've lost, it's too late. What are they offering the other ranchers? Lucas asked. Double market value for most, Henderson answered. Triple for those in key locations. They offered us 3 times, Lucas said quietly. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. You're the linchpin, Martinez realized. Your land connects the western properties to the main highway access. Without the Broken Spur. The whole project falls apart, Lucas finished. Peterson thumped his cane on the floor. That's why we're here, son. This isn't just about your ranch anymore. It's about our way of life. You hold the key to stopping them. Kate's hand found Lucas's, squeezing gently. What can we do? Martinez leaned forward. Town hall meeting, next Wednesday. The council's voting on the rezoning. We need every voice there, especially yours. After the visitors left, Lucas stood on the porch long into the night, staring at the land that had been in his family for 4 generations. Kate joined him silently, her presence a comfort in the cool desert night. $3 million is a lot of money, she said finally. Lucas nodded. Enough to start over somewhere else. Give Lily advantages we couldn't offer here. Is that what you want? Lucas turned to her, his face illuminated by the porch light. What I want is to marry you in the meadow where my parents were married. To raise Lily in the house where Emma and I grew up. To grow old watching sunsets from this porch. He paused. But I won't drag you and Lily into a fight that could get ugly. Kate's eyes flashed. Lucas Morgan, if you think I'm the kind of woman who runs from a fight, you don't know me very well. Despite everything, he smiled. No, I suppose you're not. This is our home, Kate said firmly. All of ours. And we're going to fight for it. The next morning, they called a family meeting at the breakfast table. Lily listened solemnly as they explained the situation in terms she could understand. So the bad men want to take our ranch and build a hotel? She asked, her small face serious. Something like that, Lucas nodded. And we need to decide as a family what to do. But it's our home, Lily said, as if the answer were obvious. We can't let them take it. It won't be easy, Kate cautioned. And some people might be angry with us for standing in the way of what they see as progress. Lily considered this, then straightened in her chair. Mom always said doing the right thing isn't supposed to be easy. That's how you know it's important. Lucas felt a surge of pride. Your mom was a wise woman. So we fight, Lily declared. All of us, together. And fight they did. Kate leveraged her position at the library to research the environmental impact of similar resort developments. Lucas rallied the old ranching families, creating a united front against the rezoning. Even Lily contributed, creating posters for her classmates, Save Our Ranches, written in a child's determined hand. The town quickly divided. Many were seduced by promises of jobs and economic growth. Others, particularly the old families, recognized the threat to their heritage. As Wednesday approached, tensions escalated. Anonymous phone calls warned Lucas to, quote, take the money and run. Kate found her library hours mysteriously reduced. Lily came home from school in tears, after being excluded from games by children whose parents supported the development. We could postpone the wedding, Kate suggested one night, as they sat reviewing their strategy for the town hall meeting. Until this blows over. Lucas shook his head. They'd see it as weakness, think they're getting to us. He took her hand. Unless you're having second thoughts. Never, Kate assured him. I just don't want our wedding day overshadowed by all this. Nothing could overshadow marrying you, Lucas said simply. Wednesday arrived clear and hot. A typical Arizona spring day. The town hall was packed to capacity, with people spilling out onto the sidewalk. At the front, the town council sat behind a long table, Mayor Jackson presiding with a nervous expression. To one side sat Robert Chandler and his team of lawyers and architects, sleek and confident in their city suits. Order, please, Mayor Jackson called, banging his gavel. We're here to discuss the proposed rezoning of the Western Valley Agricultural District for commercial development. Chandler presented first, his slick presentation filled with glossy renderings of the proposed resort. Jobs, tax revenue, prosperity, all guaranteed, if only the backward-thinking ranchers would step aside for progress. When it was the opposition's turn, Lucas stepped forward. He'd never been one for public speaking, but as he faced the crowd, he found strength in Kate's encouraging smile and Lily's fierce thumbs up from the third row. My great-grandfather settled the Broken Spur in 1887, he began, his deep voice carrying easily through the hall. He didn't have much, a wagon, some tools, a few head of cattle. What he did have was a vision of a place where a family could put down roots, work honest land, and build something that would last. Lucas gestured to the hall around them. This town exists because of ranchers like him. Our families weathered dust storms and droughts, market crashes and wars, all while keeping this land productive and beautiful. He turned toward Chandler and his team. Now these gentlemen come offering money. Good money, I won't deny it. But what they're really asking is for us to sell our heritage, our history, our home. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as Lucas continued. They say they'll bring jobs. Maybe they will for a time. They say they'll bring prosperity. For some, perhaps. But what they'll take can never be replaced. Once this land is bulldozed for golf courses and swimming pools, it's gone forever. Lucas paused, his eyes finding Kate and Lily. I stand here today not just for myself, but for my future wife. For my niece who will someday inherit this land, and for all the generations of Morgans and others who haven't been born yet. I'm asking you to vote against this rezoning, to protect what makes Copper Creek special before it's too late. As Lucas returned to his seat, Kate squeezed his hand. Perfect, she whispered. Old Joe Peterson spoke next, followed by several other ranchers. Kate presented her research on environmental impacts, water table depletion, wildlife habitat destruction, increased traffic pollution. The case against rezoning grew stronger with each speaker. When public comments were invited, Lily unexpectedly raised her hand. Lucas started to dissuade her, but Kate placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Let her speak," she murmured. "This affects her too." The mayor looked uncertain but nodded. "Young lady in the blue dress." Lily made her way to the microphone, which had to be lowered considerably for her to reach. "My name is Lily Winters," she began, her small voice somehow filling the silent hall. "I'm 9 years old, and I live at the Broken Spur Ranch with my Uncle Lucas and my soon-to-be Aunt Kate." She took a deep breath, her blue eyes scanning the crowd. "My mom died of cancer 2 years ago. Before that, we lived in an apartment in Dallas. It was okay, but I never had a real home until I came to the ranch." Lily's clear gaze found Chandler. "The man in the suit wants to take my home away and build a hotel. He thinks money is more important than family and history, and the special places where memories live." Her voice grew stronger. "My mom used to say that some things can't be bought or sold because their real value isn't in dollars. I think the ranch is like that. It's where I learned to ride a horse and gather eggs and be brave during thunderstorms. It's where Uncle Lucas and Kate fell in love, and where we're going to be a real family." Tears shone in her eyes now, but she continued bravely. "Please don't vote to let them destroy our home. Because once special places are gone, all the money in the world can't bring them back." As Lily returned to her seat, the hall remained silent for a long moment. Then, from the back, someone began to applaud. The applause spread, growing into a standing ovation that left Lily wide-eyed with surprise. Mayor Jackson banged his gavel, struggling to restore order. "We'll take a 15-minute recess before the council votes," he announced. In the cramped hallway outside, Lucas knelt to Lily's level. "That was the bravest thing I've ever seen," he told her, voice rough with emotion. Lily beamed. "Did I help? More than you know, sweetheart," Kate assured her, brushing back a strand of Lily's dark hair. "More than you know." When the council reconvened, the tension was palpable. Mayor Jackson cleared his throat. "Before we vote, Mr. Chandler has asked for a moment to address the council." Chandler approached the microphone, his composure visibly shaken. "In light of community concerns, Mirage Development is withdrawing its rezoning request at this time." He glanced toward Lily, then quickly away. "We will be exploring alternative locations for our project." A roar of conversation erupted as Chandler and his team gathered their materials and made a hasty exit. The old ranching family surrounded Lucas, Kate, and Lily, faces alight with victory. "You did it, son," Peterson crowed, thumping Lucas on the back. "You stood your ground." But Lucas shook his head, looking down at Lily. "We all did." His arms slipped around Kate's waist. Together. As they made their way out of the town hall into the warm Arizona sunshine, Sheriff Martinez fell into step beside them. "Quite a speech your girl gave," he observed. "Changed some minds in there. She has a way of cutting to the heart of things," Kate agreed proudly. Martinez nodded toward a parked car down the street, where Chandler sat, talking intensely on his phone. "I wouldn't celebrate too much yet. Men like that don't give up easily." "We'll be ready," Lucas said firmly. "Whatever comes next." The sheriff smiled. "I don't doubt it." He tipped his hat to Kate. "Still on for the wedding next month?" "Elena's been working on her special tres leches cake." "Wouldn't miss it," Kate assured him. As they drove back to the Broken Spur, the setting sun painted the desert in hues of flame and gold. Lily had fallen, asleep in the back seat, exhausted by the day's emotions. "What do you think Chandler will try next?" Kate asked quietly. Lucas took her hand across the truck's bench seat. "I don't know. But today reminded me of something important." "What's that?" "That we're stronger than I thought. All of us. Together." He glanced at Lily in the rearview mirror. "She's extraordinary, you know. Just like her guardian." Kate smiled, squeezing his hand. "Just like her family." As the Broken Spur came into view, silhouetted against the setting sun, Lucas felt a certainty settle over him. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as they had faced today, as a family, united and strong. The desert sunset painted the Broken Spur in shades of amber and gold, a fitting backdrop for the simple white arch festooned with wildflowers. Folding chairs arranged in neat rows faced the arch, already filling with guests in their Sunday best. Lucas stood near the barn, adjusting his bolo tie nervously while Diego straightened his jacket. "Relax, Jefe," Diego chuckled. "The hard part is over." Lucas nodded, thinking of the past month's challenges. After the town hall meeting, Chandler had indeed tried other tactics. Legal challenges to water rights, allegations of property line encroachment, even attempting to have the main access road declared a public throughway. Each attack had been met and defeated, often with help from the same community that had rallied around them at the town hall. "Lucas?" Sheriff Martinez approached, looking uncharacteristically formal in a pressed suit. "It's time." Taking a deep breath, Lucas made his way to the arch, where Pastor Williams waited with a weathered Bible and a kind smile. Music began, a local trio playing an acoustic version of "I Will Always Love You," as the guests settled into their seats. Diego came first, escorting Elena Martinez, who had become Kate's close friend during the wedding preparations. Then, a collective "Oh, wah, bedlew" rose from the gathering as Lily appeared, solemn in her role as best girl, scattering wildflower petals from a woven basket. She wore a blue dress that matched her eyes, with the promised fancy boots peeking out beneath the hem. The music changed, and everyone rose as Kate appeared on the arm of old Joe Peterson, who had insisted on the honor of giving away the bride. Lucas felt his breath catch at the sight of her. Her simple white dress caught the golden light, and wildflowers were woven into her honey-blonde hair. But it was her smile, radiant with joy, that transformed her into the most beautiful thing Lucas had ever seen. As she reached him, Lucas extended his hand. Kate took it, her fingers warm and steady against his calloused palm. "Dearly beloved," Pastor Williams began. The ceremony was brief but heartfelt. They had written their own vows, simple declarations of love and commitment that needed no embellishment. When Lucas spoke of finding a family he never expected, his voice roughened with emotion. When Kate promised to build a life of purpose and joy together, her eyes shone with happy tears. "The rings, please," Pastor Williams prompted. Lily stepped forward importantly, holding up a small satin pillow with two bands, a simple gold one for Kate, and a braided leather one for Lucas that Kate had special ordered from a craftsman in Tucson. As they exchanged rings, Lucas noticed movement at the back of the gathering. Tom Reeves stood watching, his expression unreadable. Their eyes met briefly before Reeves turned and walked away, shoulders slumped in defeat. "By the power vested in me," Pastor Williams concluded, "I now pronounce you husband and wife. Lucas, you may kiss your bride." As their lips met, sealing their commitment beneath the Arizona sky, cheers erupted from the assembled guests. Lily threw her remaining flower petals into the air, where they caught the breeze and danced like colorful snowflakes around the newly married couple. The reception that followed was everything a ranch wedding should be. Barbecue and homemade sides set up on long tables, string lights illuminating the yard as darkness fell, and a makeshift dance floor where couples swayed to country ballads. "Mrs. Morgan," Lucas murmured as they shared their first dance, "has a nice ring to it." Kate smiled up at him. "It certainly does. Though, technically, I'm keeping Winters professionally. The library already printed my new business cards." "Kate Winters Morgan," Lucas tested the name. "I like that too." As the evening progressed, Lucas found himself pulled into conversation after conversation, accepting congratulations and well wishes from what seemed like the entire town. It was during a quiet moment, as he fetched fresh lemonade for Kate, that he found himself face to face with Robert Chandler. "Mr. Morgan," Chandler nodded stiffly. "Congratulations." Lucas tensed. "What are you doing here, Chandler? Your sheriff invited me," Chandler replied, gesturing toward Martinez, who was watching them carefully from across the yard. "Said it might be educational." "Educational?" Chandler sighed, some of his corporate polish falling away. "Look, Morgan, I've developed properties all over the Southwest. Usually, it's just a matter of finding the right price." He glanced around at the celebration. "This is different." "This is community," Lucas said simply. "Something money can't buy." Chandler nodded slowly. I'm beginning to see that. He reached into his jacket, removing an envelope. My company has officially withdrawn all interest in the Western Valley properties. This contains the legal documentation releasing any claims we filed. Lucas took the envelope cautiously. Why the change of heart? Let's just say your niece's speech made an impression on some of our key investors. Chandler glanced toward where Lily was teaching younger children a simple line dance. That, and the unexpected publicity when the Arizona Heritage Commission fast-tracked your ranch for historic designation status. Lucas couldn't hide his surprise. Historic designation? You didn't know? Chandler actually smiled slightly. Apparently, your librarian wife has been busy. The application cited the Broken Spur as one of the last intact examples of original homesteading architecture in the region. Once the designation is official, no developer can touch it. Before Lucas could respond, Kate appeared at his side, her expression wary as she recognized Chandler. Is everything all right? She asked, slipping her arm through Lucas's. Mr. Chandler was just leaving, Lucas said, still processing this new information. After delivering some good news, Chandler extended his hand. Mrs. Morgan, congratulations on your marriage and on outmaneuvering my legal team. Not many people manage that. Kate accepted the handshake with a gracious nod. Sometimes the best victories are the ones that help everyone see what truly matters. As Chandler walked away, Lucas turned to Kate. Historic designation? When were you going to tell me? A mischievous smile played at her lips. Consider it a wedding present. I was going to surprise you tonight. Lucas shook his head in amazement. You are remarkable, you know that? I'm resourceful, she corrected. And I protect what I love. Later that night, after the last guests had departed and Lily had fallen asleep, exhausted but happy, Lucas and Kate stood on the porch of the Broken Spur. The desert night enfolded them in quiet darkness, stars scattered like diamonds across the velvet sky. So, Lucas said, his arm around his wife's shoulders. Historic designation, huh? Kate leaned into him. It means the ranch is protected, not just for us, but for Lily and whatever children might come after. Children? Lucas asked, a smile in his voice. Eventually, Kate said softly, if you want that. I want everything with you, he told her. A lifetime of everything. In the distance, a coyote called to its mate, the sound echoing across the silent ranch. Lucas thought about the journey that had brought them here. From the day a dusty blue pickup had appeared in his yard, to this moment of perfect belonging. You know, he said thoughtfully, when Lily first arrived, she told me she didn't want a horse, she wanted a dad. Kate looked up at him, her face silvered by moonlight. And now? Now she has both, Lucas said simply. And I have everything I never knew to wish for. As the night deepened around the Broken Spur ranch, the small family inside slept peacefully, secure in the knowledge that what they had built together, love, trust, home, was stronger than any force that might try to break it apart. For on the Broken Spur, as in life, what endures isn't always what we plan for, but what we find when plans fall away. Love in its many forms, stubborn as the desert mesquite, enduring as the land itself. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.